Hello everybody, hello. Today we're doing the Rizia expansion for Suzerain. It is a game where you run a government and you have multiple choice questions to answer, basically. There's a story and different things like that, but basically it's multiple choice. It's like a choose your own adventure novel in a way. So, we do a new game. I've played the game before. Let's just stream. I played the game before when I did the main game, but I've uninstalled it since then, so unfortunately, what is this torpor mode? Once you disable torpor mode, what is this? Okay, wants to disable that. It disables manual saving and enables achievements. You can only turn it off like a clean story mode once. Okay, so we can't save, basically. So you have the government, the Kingdom of Rizia. Are you ready to stick out your gat for Rizia? Government. Semi-constitutional monarchy. Population about 40 million. State religion is this. Key exports, gas, gold, and wine. Starting date is 950. King Romus Toras is ascended to the throne. His reign begins under geopolitical strife, contention between royal houses, and demands for the reclamation of lost lands. Now, if you'd played this before and know what this is about, there's a whole world of different stuff going on here. So this is Swordland. It's kind of a heavily it's a country with some problems, I think is the best way to describe it. It's a republic, and that's kind of where you start off. This is the communist country. Lagos land, it's a communist country. And then there's Rumburg, which is a big empire, and they're jerks. Wayland is a kind of Saddam Hussein style Iraq. Lesbia is like a kind of like a United States almost. And the rest of these I don't know anything about, really. But anyway, so let's get started. I haven't finished the main story. I technically have before, it's just that it doesn't have the save anymore. Automatically generated default save file to continue the main story. Yes, I want to continue. Now, I don't know how long this is going to take. It might be one stream, might be two streams. But I hope it does turn out nice. I hope you enjoy. Cost me $9. It better be good. Although that's less than a McDonald's meal these days, right? Monarch, your reign in your abode, your scepter in the herb you hold, and aim the ground on which you trod. All will be dust when you are cold. That's Victor Hugo. 1905, Monquise, Kingdom of Rizia. You opened your eyes to this realm. Becoming a king was never your choice. It was my birthright, it was my burden, it was my calling. What should we do? I was thinking about doing kind of like a Reza Shah type of person, if you know who that is. The former leader of, well, then it was called Persia, now it's called Iran. So let's see, birthright, burden, or calling. You would definitely think it's his birthright, right? Very imperious figure he was. From a young age, you knew you were no ordinary child. You're Romus Torres, grandson of King Liza. That's my grandmother. Now, this game has a lot of different, like, lore. There's lots of different entries. Ruler of all of Rizia. Son of Crown Prince Valero. The Duke of Valenkiris. It's my home province. For most of the year, you lived with your father, Valero, and your mother, Estella, in a lavish palace atop the cliffs of Monquise. Each summer, though, you... visited my mother's common-born family at their home in Zeal Harbor. Stayed with the queen in the royal palace in Port Durazon. Went hunting with your father's brother Hugo. Definitely, we were hanging out with the queen, baby. You were fascinated by the splendor of your surroundings and the intricacies of your grandmother's court. Every autumn, you returned home a little wiser, or it felt good to have caring relatives. Let's go with a little bit of wiser. When Queen Liza died, the whole country grieved. But the mourning could only last for so long. There's a new king to crown. That's our father, obviously. Remember two things about King Valero's coronation. Whispers that Hugo, now the Duke of Valencris, was actually the rightful king, and the shouts of protesters outside the palace gates. Along with your father after the ceremony, you ... Let's see, what should we do? Let's talk about the protests. Father laughed and told you that some people had to come to believe Rizia shouldn't be ruled by a monarch anymore, but of course he assured you they were wrong. I believed him. Obviously, this country is one filled with much strife, as usual. Life in Port Trezon was less exciting than you'd expected. You tutored privately and rarely had contact with non-royals. At the palace, the closest person to your age was Pavel, the groundskeeper's son, a quiet but friendly kid who knew everything about every plant, in the palace gardens. You ... Okay, they don't give any more information. Um, let's say that I bossed him around. He's mean. My guy's mean. When you came of age, your father invited you to start sitting in on royal council meetings. You decided, um, let's see, which would he go? Military, university, or taking part in royal council meetings? Let's take part in the royal council meetings. Even though it doesn't sound as effective, I'd rather normally join the military, but let's see what we can do. Council members took you into the wing, catching you up on the issues of the day. One of their main concerns was the palace. Peninsula to Rizia's south, formerly a part of the kingdom. Former part of Rizia that had long belonged to the Empire of Valgos, a historical empire comprising modern-day Vagos land and many of its colonies. Now the empire has fallen. War Councilor Tedius Azaro. 3 noble houses. Okay, so we have to start memorizing noble houses, everybody. Get ready. Was launching a military campaign to take the newly independent region back. You thought it was a lost cause, agreed that it would be time to conquer the territory, and then have an opinion. What should we do? Long belonged to part of the Empire of Valgos. Military campaign to take on the newly independent region back. I don't know if we can do it. Let's do it, right? As you continued to serve in the council, the campaign in Palace dragged on. It seemed like an easy victory until your northern neighbor Lespia got involved, sending weapons and financial aid. Your neighbor to the north, a wealthy democratic republic, that's the United States analog. Protests against the war sprouted up around the country. Did your father stop the bloodshed? Hell no. He's got to crack down on those traitors. Hell yeah. That's our style. A few arrests were made, but the fire had been lit. Your council meeting was interrupted by the announcement that the Navy had mutinied. Bloody clashes between pro and anti-monarchists were erupting in the country. A century of revolutions had reached Rizia at last. The head of the palace security insisted that you be driven to a safe house outside of Port Trezon. As you left the city limits, though, an unmarked car swerved in front of you, blocking the road. A trio of masked men with guns jumped out, quickly overpowered your guards, and forced you out of the vehicles. What should we do? Run away, fight, or comply? Well, that's a good question. What should we do? I mean, obviously we're not going to die here in the early pre-game section, so we could fight, but I'm not sure if that's my character's style. He's kind of a coward. He's a brutal coward. So let's try and run away. Let's go with that one, the goal for the middle option. You ran for your life. Before you could fall, you felt a sharp pain in your leg and collapsed. Oh, they did shoot me. As your captors caught up with you, you recognized one of their voices, Lucas Sazon, Duke of Brennis, and the head of Rizia's third royal house. Uh-oh. Being kidnapped. They held you captive for nearly a week. Rescue finally came. It was in the form of a man with a white and blue magenta flag on his fatigue. Waylon. Okay, so this is the equivalent of, like, Iraq, basically. They end up getting led by a crazy guy, basically. At the palace, you pieced together what had happened. In desperation, your father had pleaded to the aid of a neighboring country, Waylon, to neutralize this uprising. But their help came at a price. An agreement signed by both countries transferred the ownership of the port Zeal and its surrounding region to Waylon for the next 25 years. I wondered how King Valero had been so stupid. Thanked him for restoring order, or I was just happy to be alive. Considering I had been kidnapped, probably just happy to be alive. Better to just be happy with the situation than, anything else. The uprising had other consequences. The traitor Lucas Sazon was executed, and his pregnant wife... His pregnant wife was sent into exile. You gotta get rid of the pregnant wife, too. The kid's gonna come back. As further punishment, Isa, the capital of Brenos and the Sazon's ancestral home, was handed over to your family. Your uncle Hugo was sent to serve as its steward, and you to take his place as the reigning Duke of Valencris. At your childhood home in Monquise, you... focused on finding and punishing the remaining traitors to the throne, largely ignoring your duties. Did your best to help the region rebuild. What should we do? Should we go after revenge, or just, like, try and relax? After all of that, definitely the Playboy lifestyle, I think, would probably be the best. For me, personally. You were a constant newspaper fixture. They called you the Party Prince. One day, the king came for an unannounced visit. He brought him a pale-skinned woman with striking blue eyes. Hesitantly, she introduced herself as Lena Livingston, sister of the Queen Beatrice. Oh, Queen of Rumburg. Oh, crap. This is bad. Rumburg is dangerous. Very large country to the north of us. north of Wayland. So he bowed, kissed her hand. We demanded to know what's going on. Definitely not gonna be nasty. Let's kiss her hand. Let's kiss her hand. Try and be nice. Told you had no choice. Okay, King Valera told you that he had no choice. With Wayland descending the civil war, Rizia needed a new ally. That's fair. Partnership with the Kingdom of Rumburg, cemented with an arranged marriage, was in the best interests of both monarchies. Besides, he added, you would surely grow to love her. He was wrong or he was right. Let's see. Do we love our wife? Do we love our wife? You know, I could probably do... No, I can't. I'm not going to. I was going to do RNG, but let's not do that. Just go... Yes. I love my wife. My wife? You and Lena began having hours-long conversations about your royal upbringings, hopes, and dreams. By the time you go through the veil, you knew it was true love. Oh, isn't that nice? Years after your wedding and birth of your daughter, Vina, the happiest of your life. My daughter. The only trouble was, that your royal obligations sometimes got in the way of being a good husband and father. Now, being a husband and father distracted you from your royal obligations, but you couldn't stop yourself from having the occasional affair. Now, that seems to be more or less on point for what I've been doing so far. Old habits die hard. With Rumburg's help, Rizia's economy bounced back to levels it hadn't seen since the glory days of Queen Rizia. Wealthy Rumburgians started moving to the cities. So did economic migrants from neighboring Morella and Daredia, and Wessex seeking asylum from the Civil War. Okay, so Morella is our western neighbor, Daredia is a theocratic country in the west of Rizia. Okay. Celebrated under diversity, were suspicious of these newcomers and welcomed the new arrivals, but they're secretly glad that a few of them settled in your province. Well, he's kind of a jerk. So let's be secretly racist. Many of the foreigners ended up in the province of Brennis, where a nationalist movement called Su Almana, a nationalist organization that puts Rizia, quote, above all, began demanding that the king put Rizia above all. As Duke of Iza, their uncle Hugo turned a blind eye to Su Almana's activities. Hugo, while teenage son Ricardus became a vocal supporter. Eventually, Ricardus, better known as Rico, approached you about speaking at one of the group's rallies. Okay, let's see. Are we going to be violent racists? Or are we going to be closeted racists? Ooh, what should we do? It's a tough one. Because this is pretty important. This is gonna determine how we stand with different groups. This is a pretty important choice. This probably won't end well, but let's go for it. You threw your weight behind Su Almana, increasing the group's legitimacy and following. Parents were displeased, but said nothing. You slowly realized the uprising had broken something in your father. He began neglecting his duties as he became increasingly preoccupied with threats, both real and imaginary. Outside of the country, he gained a new nickname, Valero the Frail. You found yourself under more and more pressure to make up for your father's shortcomings. Nina was patient and understanding, one of the many things you loved about her. For her 10th birthday, Vina asked to go on a sailing trip with the two of you. And I, should I be totally abandon my family? I feel like that's like not, he's a jerk, but he's not going to abandon his daughter, right? So let's we happily come along. In the middle of the Gulf of Valencrease, the weather turned to unexpectedly stormy. When the captain tried to turn the boat around, it was hit with a breaking wave and cracked in half. Coast Guard got to you and your daughter on time, but by the time they pulled Lena out, she was barely breathing. We rushed her to the hospital. She died holding your hand. Damn. Okay. You were devastated. After the funeral, your mother Estella came to visit and found you hardly able to function. She promptly moved in to help out with Vina. Chico suggested that you turn to, I can't even pronounce that, Ruhekism. Let's call it that. Ruhekism. Silent W. Rizia's official religion to cope with your loss. In faith, you finally found solace. If anything, you became less of a believer. It's an interesting arc, you know. Jerk to bloodthirsty jerk to playboy to racist to now religious person. Meanwhile, the situation in the capital worsened. Rizia nationalists continued to protest the loss of zeal and the country's increasing diversity. Rumors spread of that an anti-monarchist movement was beginning to grow once more. Your father called Hugo back to the capital to keep his eye on the council. We wondered what the country was coming to. The reason that the king had brought his troubles on himself, or we began to get suspicious as well. I do wonder what the country's coming to, indeed. Outsiders also took notice of the king's decline. One of them was Axel Reinhardt, new ruler of the Grand Duchy of Pales. This is to these... Okay, that's the area that we tried to conquer. He sent you an invitation to visit him on 2 conditions. 1, you were alone and without your father's knowledge. This is another important choice. This could turn out really horribly, or it could turn out okay. Now, we had fought them before, and we had wanted to invade them, so we're going to decline. A few days later, you received a letter from Pales. He expressed his disappointment that you couldn't meet him, and wrote that he hoped to re-establish relations between Pales and Rizia once you took the throne. Well, my father's never done anything that's, like, egregiously horrible to me, so I can trust him. Short to the king. Stay close to your father in the months that followed, though you were both too busy to see each other as often as you would have liked. As Vina grew into an intelligent, self-reliant young woman, your mother moved back to the capital. She called you one night with her voice shaking. King was dying. You'd gone straight to bed after dinner. When your mother went to check on him later, she found him comatose in the bedroom. The doctor suspected a heart attack. I guess let's just go and see him, why not? Father looked pale as a ghost. It took all of his efforts to speak. In a hoarse whisper, he warned you not to follow in his footsteps. Your reign would be a fresh start for the House of Toras. A chance to take back the lands that were lost. Only after his funeral, gathered at a palace with your mother and daughter, did the realization begin to dawn on you. From the day you were born, your entire life had been leading to this moment. Now, it was finally here. And I have a nice little Rizia prologue, Ascension to the Throne. Completed the Rizia prologues. Chapter 1, King Romus, or Ramus, whatever her name is here. Okay, Rizia National Coalition. Default, gentleman. Professional, pushed back. Short. Swedish fedora. Wavy. White hat doesn't... What the hell? Some of these are pretty crazy. Royal cap. Crown. Crown with no hair. Yankee with no brim. Ooh, we have a couple different choices here. Marking, that's, I believe, the equivalent of a Marxist. There's different names for things, but it's vaguely similar to our world. Resonant goatee. The Rizian. Ooh, the Rizian. How could I say no to the Rizian with sides? Perfect. Royal attire, ceremonial, gray suit, brown suit. I like the default look. Background's okay. With that, new accessories. He doesn't need anything like that. Now, what are we gonna do with his hair? Ooh, that's not bad. I want to see the hat though. Let's do it. Let's go full bicorn. Awesome. Okay, so that's good. Yes, I am sure. Strategic focus selection panel is King Ramus Torres. You have extensive powers to enact and shape the course of your nation. By choosing different focus options, you can improve the strategic direction of your country. Government structure and tension. Opting for the absolutism would solidify monarchic traditions, constituting power and authority within the House Toras. Alternatively, you can reform. It aligns with House Sezon, Rizian People's Party. I don't like this. So we're basically an autocrat. That's how I set it up, at least in my mind. And status quo seeks to uphold the prevailing balance of power. Definitely absolutism. That's definitely what we're going for. Economic strategy. Now we can focus on strengthening our resource economy, which is going to safeguard our long-term energy commitments, or we could diversify, which is probably for the best. Or we could take a mixed approach. A mixed approach might be for the best. You know, rely on what we have, but look to diversify in the long term. I think I'm going with a mixed approach. Because if you go with only one resource, as soon as that resource has an issue, like as far as price goes, boom, you're done. Foreign affairs strategy. Okay, here's the interesting thing. So you get appeasement, fosters diplomacy with Wayland and courts the monarchies of Rumburg. Opting for the third wave veers towards regional alliances, notably Rizia, Pales, and Morella, sidestepping dominant powers. Interventionism is not going to happen with us. In third way, I mean, we don't really have good relations with them. You know, we're for the war. So third way is definitely not the case. We do interventionism, kind of be headstrong, which I think maybe is not the best choice because we didn't go into the military. So let's go with appeasement. It's kind of cowardly. I think it fits our character. Our guy is a little bit cowardly. And so we can enact. Okay, military branch focus. Is it army, navy? None. Maritime aspirations. Air Force could be good for aerial superiority. That's important. That is very important. Now, what's the army? The pay way for enhanced ground operations. These two, the Air Force and the Army, are definitely very important. Okay, so as you can see up at the top here, here's authority. Here's our budget. And here's the energy. So maybe we could go, we got 5. Let's go with the Rizzian Army. Oh, maybe now the Air Force is really important. Like, air superiority is so fucking important. So let's go with the Rizzian Air Force. Ooh, collection item unlocked. Stat authority increased. Stat decreased budget. Angelic sounding voices of a boy's choir echo throughout the grand halls of Palace Resna. See, and it has this whole thing. I can't read all this. You guys have to get the game and read it for yourselves. But there's a whole bunch of stuff. See, we in celebration of Rizzia's independence from the Marquian Empire. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And you can ignore it or engage in it. But right now, let's not. To most Rizzians, this was the grandest room in the grandest building in the entire country. To me, it was just home. I remember playing hide and seek among the mosaic tiled columns when visiting my grandmother. Watching from the upper galleries, my father met with foreign dignitaries. Of course, this is where I married Lena. I leaned forward in the Scylla Orca, the golden-plated wooden throne on which all monarchs of Rizia were coronated. The hall before me were filled with nobles, politicians, business magnates, and even movie stars. The television crew moved up and down the aisle, broadcasting the ceremony to the Rizzian public for the first time. My mother was sitting in the front row next to Uncle Hugo. And this will tell you even more now if we click Uncle Hugo. See? Now we can see Uncle Hugo. Benevion. That's Val and Chris, okay? So Benevion is... Okay, so this is too much. Like I said, there's a lot of world building. So you can kind of... I'd suggest getting the game and looking into it in your own time. I can't read all of it. I'd lose my voice. And we go too slow, too. Tradition dictated that in the absence of a king or queen consort, that a seat next to me would be filled by the successor to the throne. Vina plucked at a stray thread in her gown. Let's see what Vina looks like. That's my daughter? She looks kind of old, you know? She looks a little bit old. Like, look, this is me. This is her. A little bit too old. Okay. Little is known about her private life other than their keen intellect and love of horseback riding. So let's see what my mom looks like. Very old. Interesting. Okay, cool. So she's next to me on the throne. How are you feeling, Father? Honestly, a little nervous. My feelings are none of your business. Okay, that's mean. Stop fidgeting. The cameras are on us. You can say we're ready for the next chapter. Are we going to be honest to our daughter? Are we going to say that we're nervous? Because I imagine any king would be nervous. Will we be angry because she's fidgeting in front of the cameras? I should say ready for the next chapter. I think that's a good neutral response. My daughter smiled. Me too. I wish Mother was the one sitting here, though. Final notes, the coronation hymn, "By his sword I live," rang out. An expectant silence filled the hall. It was broken by the sound of shuffling footsteps. The cameras followed Grand Wiseman, Sal Ignatius, as he walked slowly down the central aisle bearing a velvet cushion. That is a ridiculous name, I'm sorry. Sal Ignatius. Hi, Sal. Okay, so he's the respected religious leader of Rizia, and he's my religious counselor. One of the most significant actions was the ban he placed on Deridian Golonquandist pilgrims following the partial collapse of the North Republic of Deridia. Okay, so these guys are to the left and they're the Republic. The religious, I don't know what I'd call them. They're crazy, basically. They're theocratic. And he's Wayland, by the way. Yeah, little Victor Smolak. Lunatic. Okay, so he's walking up to us with the velvet cushion. He presented it in front of me. On it was the Torras crown, a black onyx orb and a scroll containing the words to the royal oath. Recite the oath. I took the scroll off the cushion and read it from it. I hereby pledge myself. I hereby pledge myself in service to the great nation of Rizia and its people. I promise to guide my country with a steadfast hand. To uphold the laws of this land under Saint Wunric's watchful eye. To wield the sword of justice and the shield of mercy in equal measure. All this I shall do until the day I die. Look at my mom. Caught my mother's eye. She gave me a conspiratorial wink. Look at the crown. I gazed at the Torres crown, forged when my family took the throne 150 years ago. It was made of pure gold, adorned with two twisting spires resembling bull's horns. Seems kind of ominous looking. Take the orb. The orb! I lifted the orb off the cushion and ran my fingers along its smooth surface. It was inlaid with a trio of diamonds representing the three royal houses of Rizia. Torras, that's us. Azaro is the ones we got rid of. No. Azaro is elsewhere, they're the reformists, and Sazon were the ones who tried to get rid of us, and we got rid of them. May Saint Moonric fill you with Holy Spirit on this day, as he did your ancestors before you. Is Moonric, one of the two main branches of Nuridi, one atheistic religion centered around the belief in the divine god and Saint Dast as the divine messenger. Oh, okay, there's a lot, like I said. So Dast Nurists are different. With trembling hands, he lifted the crown off the cushion. I could spot a gray hair still clinging to its inner rim, my father's. May you keep the promise you've made before God and your people. By the divine power invested in me, I proclaim you the sovereign king of Rizia. Arise, King Romus. Stand up. Ah, yeah. I stood. The choir broke out in On Shores of Gold, the Rizian national anthem. Stop them and make a speech. Let's just proceed with the coronation, and I'm not going to interrupt anything. We're on TV after all. I probably don't have a microphone, so it wouldn't work well. Everyone in the crowd was bowed their heads as Vina and I made our way down the aisle. I hope my limp was invisible to the television viewers. I thought about the kidnappers and bullets and how close I came to never seeing this day. I passed my cousin Rico on the second row. He looked up at me, smiled. So here's Rico. And he is... Yes, and we were kind of friendly with him because we, promised to cleanse the stain from the royal bloodline. What the fuck's that mean? That's threatening. Okay, he's tied to Soup Omina. They're mostly in Brennas. Okay. So kept walking, recognized various other members of Rizia's three royal houses, world of monarchs from different kingdoms. The entire back row was reserved for the Rombungian royal family and their entourage. Feeling my sister-in-law Beatrice's eyes on me. Yes, it's ruled by... Where is Beatrice? Here we go. She's evil. She's evil. Gained infamy selling weapons. Oh my god, yeah, like I said, she's pretty horrible. She's a pretty horrible person. He's who we aspire to be like. We reached the end of the hall, where a spiral staircase led to the palace balcony. Come, Vina, let's greet your future subjects. Yes, we have to build her up as our successor, just in case if we get shot or get blown up or decide we just don't want to be king anymore. My daughter beamed and put her arm around mine. We walked up and up the stairs until we came to a door. Open it. I stepped out onto the balcony. The sunlight was so dazzling I was almost blinded. When my eyes adjusted, I regarded the scene below me. Thousands and thousands of people were packed onto the palace grounds, some waving the Rizia flag and others the House Taurus banner. Just beyond them at the gate, the police easily held back a small pocket of protesters. Put them in jail. Now. My first order as king. Shoot all of them. I paid little attention to them. I was focused on the noise of the crowd. An overwhelming roar that gradually cohered into a single chant. This, I can't pronounce that at all. Not going to try to. All hail the new king. Here we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, there's a lot of situations. Mixed global image. Okay, so a country faces significant setback with the ancestral lands of Pales and the territory of Zeal. Territory lost not anything expected. National pride and history. Okay, wow. Okay, so the Global Monarchist Support Network, that's Romberg. They have that. Key MITS member, that is International Trade Zone. Okay, so we're trade cooperative. Global image. Average trade volume. So we have, okay, trade. Regional cultural protection. Okay. Encroaching global rivalry. Yes, because if you look out here, let me zoom out if I can. This is Lesbia. And Lesbia has, yeah, they're unfriendly. This is the kind of equivalent of like the US, and so they have their own kind of alliance. So let me just do an overview here. I don't really know these guys, like I said. They're a casual treaty organization a cooperative military alliance that encompasses more than a dozen nations, spearheaded by Arcasia. Arcasia. Wow, there's a lot of stuff out here. Okay, cool. Yeah, because before, in the old game, it didn't go like this far, much further than this. So very cool. We have this, the game, Grand Duchy of Pales. This is these guys. Neutral. Okay, so they're neutral. They're with the US equivalent. So this is us. We have Morella. And we have the North Republic of Deridia. Then here's Wayland. How does Wayland think about us? Friendly, okay. We have good ties to Wayland. They could be our way into kind of making friends with the US equivalent, because they are friendly with the US. And here's Soderland, obviously. Edouard Alfonso. I don't remember who this guy is. Yeah, I don't remember who this guy is. Okay, so this is like the US, and they probably won against Rumberg in this one. Because I think this takes place afterwards. Oh, wow. Wow. What the? Okay, it's looping around again. There's a lot of stuff here. What is this? What in the... Yo, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, this is the Royal Council. That's our Grand Vizier, is our uncle. Gwento Esquibile is our Foreign Affairs Council. Hello, Laurento Esquibile. Sal Ignatius is our Grand, whatever the heck that is. Elena Warner is a Treasury and Economy Advisor. And Lucida Zara is a War and Security Council. Very, very, progressive to have a woman in that. Wow, she was in the military. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say. Only because this is kind of old-timey. So you wouldn't expect that. This is a journal, so this is what we had. Interesting, there's lots of stuff. And these guys are the communists, obviously. And it's the CSP, that's the socialists. And we have... Who are these guys? AFTA. Okay. Valgish. Socialist Republic. Okay. Good old socialist republics. Okay. Here's Rumberg, obviously. So, anyway, let's get into it. Although, first, I want to see... Wait a minute. Oh, and this is like the... Interesting. Okay, so anyway, here's Pales. Here's the administrative district. So I guess this is the area we took. Here's Pales, the country. Let's read the report. Duke Reinhardt sends his well wishes. Just congratulations. The new chapter he hopes for. Queen Beatrice and Grace and formal congratulations. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry about that as well. Morellen, Prime Minister Alma Sultana sent congratulations. Supreme Wiseman Asmal. Yorga Asmal. Oh, he looks like a fucking terrorist. Wow, okay, he's crazy. Galkandism. Some communities, however, have been criticized for gender-based oppression as they disallow women from advancing past seeker status. Great. Oh, it promotes the acceptance of homosexuality, love between men, and particularly seen as sacred. That is, interesting. Rigorous martial training, meditation, secret texts. Interesting. And the acting duke has been appointed the acting duke. Hubertus. Okay, our cousin Hubertus. Who is Hubertus? I'll have to see. Coronation honor to Camp Domus. She saw and did blah 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 blah. Zaro. Okay, good. Sazan sent formal congratulations. Very well. Good. Let me see here real quick. These people. House of Delegates. Oh wow. Like I said, this stuff is like filled with different stuff. Rava. Daria de Rava. Ooh, we have a nice little logo and everything. Okay, so family. Who's Hugosis? Because we have Hugo, but he's not Hugosis or whatever the heck that was. Some business. Marcello. Rizian Royal Gold Corporation. Okay, there you go. Foreign leaders. We have a small army of different people. Look at Sazon. Titus. Captain of the Golden Guard. Party leader. Derava and Sazon. Okay. So we finished that. Connections. Oh, wow. Okay. Cesaro, Sazon, and Torres. Ruling family in Brunas. So there's a cactus. They've known being patrons of arts and education. Zaro is the Silver Cross swords. Is the most powerful. Well, Rumpf. Journal, connections, we did codex. Any more news? Rufus Grag. Grag's Royal Gossip. Coronation Fashion Edition. For the first television coronation in history, the royal family pulled out all the stops. While King Romus looked resplendent in his golden brocade robe, all eyes were on Queen Mother Estelle, who strode through the grand hall on flowing purple ground, with a lengthy embroidered train and a plunging neckline. Inappropriate for one of age, I'll let your readers decide. Grandma titties. Next to her grandmother, Princess Vina looked positively demure in her long-sleeved gown and simple diamond tiara. But she put on a good show. With the absence of House Toras's most beautiful and stylish member, the late Princess Consort Lena Rumberg was acutely felt. Yeah. What a shame. You got that. And then King Romus's crowning grand ceremony. Yes. Some 20,000 commoners arriving from all corners of the country were generously allowed into the palace grounds for the occasion. This is the Royal Herald, so I guess this is like state press, basically. Geopolitical. Rizian coronation raises question: who is Romus Torras? By the book, leaving us wondering what's going on the brand underneath the new crown. Most experts agreed that a new direction for Rizia is needed in order for the country to reclaim its place on the global stage following the fizzled out reign of Valero the Frail. How dare you say that about my father? Assassinate this man! Shoot him! Send our death squads! Go! What's this? Okay, this is our thing. Member Vayen, Member Grace, Omek. Country overview? Yes. Small pro-Rizia. Oh, Zeal? Okay, I see. So Wayland. So we can pick a fight with Wayland, or we're gonna have to handle that probably, right? Order, Golden Guard Brigade, Brazilian Police Force, Provincial Police Forces, Intelligence Services, Brazilian Border Guards. Oh. There's a lot of different situations. Effective foreign intelligence, weak border security. Okay, gosh. House towards regal stability, no revolutionary threat, persistent drug trade. Well, it's probably partly my fault. Welfare. Oh, we have lots of welfare. That's nice. Fully state-owned health and education institution. No drug addiction treatment. That seems kind of peculiar. We'll have to fix that. Market-driven housing. In favoring tenant laws. Acts to gun contest places worship. Horrible workers' rights. Just how I like it. Just how I like it. Okay. Average amount of illegal substance abuse. Strong welfare state. Gas fields, resource-based economy, football industry. Okay. Low extraction volume. That's bad. I guess we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that too. Yeah, energy seems like it's an important thing, because if they have energy as like a stat, obviously it's gonna be important, right? Law, drugs banned. Well, can I make it not banned? Media censored. Oh, based. 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 Moderately homogeneous society. Nice. Okay, what else? Stuff do we... Okay. Local tourist destination. Okay, so basically, we don't have a lot of tourism. It's just only a local thing. Military conscription. Small Rizian fleet. We don't have a big fleet. Core side mobile forces. Half full military stockpile. Average equipment. Paratroop brigade. Small marine division. Large mountaineer corps. Ooh, a mountaineer corps. That's fun. Okay.